Hey guys, Jay here and welcome back. And today I'm going to be fixing your Amazon FBA strategy forever. And now the reason why I'm making this video is because I've been changing a little bit of how my strategy has worked through the later parts of 2025 and 2026. And I've been through all the business models, and don't worry, we're going to dive into of what actually works and what doesn't work, and maybe what a combination of a few of them actually turns out and how it can be good for your business. Okay. So to kick things off here, I have a sales screenshot. I just picked any two random dates to get to that $1 million in sales, just to show you guys that I've been doing this for a little while now, and I've had a lot of success. I've run into some failures, but that's what's going to make the video actually meaningful, because it's not always just success. It's learning, it's figuring it out, and giving it to you guys. Okay, so first of all, I want to talk about the different business models with Amazon. We have Amazon FBA Wholesale. We're essentially working with suppliers, distributors to buy these products in bulk, put a lot of money up front, and have a good stable flow of income. We have OA, where essentially you are just purchasing from retail stores like Walgreens, PetSmart, Zoro, and using discounts and coupons to then buy the inventory, sell it on Amazon. Sometimes a little bit harder to scale just because you have to place a lot of orders. And then third, we have brand direct, where you're working directly with the brand, whether you're an exclusive partner or just purchasing from them to sell their products on Amazon. And I've worked in every single business model in the past 4 years, and I've invested a lot of time into each of them. So I'm pretty confident in knowing what strategy actually works in this business and what will not allow you to grow at a rapid pace. Okay, so before I dive into it, I want to talk about my timeline of strategy, because like I mentioned, I've been through a lot of different tricks and trades with this business. So I want to talk about what I did at certain timelines through over the course of 4 years. Okay, so from June to December of 2022, and I started in June, 100% of my entire business was traditional OA. Now, that traditional word is going to play a factor in a little bit. It'll make more sense in a second. But essentially, I was just buying from Walgreens, PetSmart, CVS, and Menards. And I'm not saying this or highlighting to say that it doesn't work. This was a really good strategy, and I was making a good amount of money, great ROI. It was consistent. I was sourcing on a daily basis, and I was really starting to figure out the ins and outs of the Amazon business, understanding Keepa, SellerAmp, and everything in between. But to this time, I really got my introduction to the business, and this was 100% of what I was doing, okay? Now, take it to January to December of 2023, basically an entire year or so. What I like to call it is traditional OA, relationships OA, and a little bit of wholesale. So this relationships OA, this word is going to grow on you a little bit as you watch more of these videos, because I talk about it sometimes. But to me, there's really two ways to do Amazon FBA OA, right? And we have traditional, where you're buying from PetSmart, Walgreens, Menards, CVS, where you're just using discounts and coupons. Then there's also relationship OA, where you're finding smaller to mid-sized retailers, where you're reaching out to them and building a little bit of a relationship. It's essentially like a hybrid wholesale, okay? So maybe using the word hybrid wholesale would be better for it, just to really differentiate the two. But this is what I was starting to mix in through this time period. And then I had a little bit of wholesale, okay? So I had a little bit of a balance of each of them going on, and I started traveling in June of 2023 of this year, so about 1 year from when I started my business. So things were a little bit more hectic, and I wanted to balance, so I thought, oh, the perfect business model for balance was wholesale. I thought more profit, more opportunity, more balance, but we're going to learn a little bit about that in a second, okay? Now, my growth for context, 7K a month to 50K a month. So this first 6 months or so into the business, I grew to 7K a month, which was awesome. It was about $1,500 or a month or so in profit, net profit. I didn't really have any expenses or anything, so it was really good. And then I grew to 50K a month by the end of that 2023 time period, and that profit was about 6 to 7K. So again, very happy with that profit as well. But that's what the growth looked like when I went from traditional OA only. Obviously, I learned throughout the years with the business on what worked, what didn't work, but then I ended up mixing in relationship OA and as well as having a little bit of wholesale, okay? Now, I want to talk about January to July of that following year in 2024, because this is really, really important. So I went wholesale and brand direct. I still had my OA and relationship side of the thing going, but I kind of put it on the back burner. But I went fully into wholesale and fully into brand direct. I was literally brand direct sourcing 6 hours a day, just brand direct sourcing. And then I would do wholesale as well to try to get a mix of those. And what I like to call this was shiny object syndrome. So at this time period in 2024, I'm going to be honest, I started to dive into a lot of the chirps and the noises on the outside, thinking that what I was doing, 50K a month and all, that it wasn't as sustainable as what I could be doing. And I thought I had a really good groundwork of the business, considering I was doing it for a year and a half to 2 years. And I thought, okay, this is my big step. I have a little bit of money and capital to spend into inventory for a big relationship with brands and wholesalers. Let me go all the way into it. And this was literally one of the biggest mistakes I've ever made into my business, because thank God I was still running my OA and relationship OA side of things, because it was bringing in the cash flow. But I was spending a lot of time, looking for very little reward with these wholesale and brand direct relationships. Now, I'll be honest, I did land a few brand direct accounts that did end up working out, but I invested a lot of time to put everything into those. And it was a massive mistake in my business, which I'll talk about again in a little bit. Okay. But from July of that time period going through to now, 2026, January, February, my entire business has looked like this: OA bulk, wholesale, a little bit of brand direct, and just a healthy mix of everything. So I'm not closed off to any business model, OA, traditional OA, wholesale, whatever. I have a little bit of a healthy mix, but the big portion of my business is OA bulk, a little bit of wholesale, and a little bit of brand direct. Okay. Now, when I say OA bulk, it's basically OA relationship lead, right? So those kind of words go hand in hand: relationship leads, OA bulk, and all those under the sun that I like to call it. Okay. So I'm going to explain it a little bit in a second why I shifted my entire strategy to this and what I've learned through, going all OA, going all wholesale, going all brand direct, and so on. Okay. But I want to give you guys a little bit of a perspective on what things look like. So this is a graph that I made, a little handheld graph here. And in 2022 and 2023, in about a year and a half, I went from 0 to 50K per month. And I really started with $250 to my name in the business, which is extremely hard to do. I definitely don't recommend it. And if you're selling and you're building at this time, you really understand that's almost impossible to do nowadays. But I was growing at a really healthy pace. A year and a half, 0 to essentially going towards a 6-figure a month business. And what did I do going into 2024? I basically scratched my entire ideology of what got me there and what could take me to 200K per month and so on. And I went all into wholesale and brand direct, and I didn't have a timeline of success. What was I doing, right? And I want to give you guys this illustration because things were going so well, things were going up and up and up. And then I shifted strategies and shifted approach to basically an environment that I've never known before. I was essentially switching businesses, and I had no idea why I was making that approach. And again, the chirps and the noises dawned in on me a little bit. So that illustration kind of depicts it to give you guys good perspective on it, okay? Now, here's some of the lessons that I learned. 4 years of ups and downs. And I told you, I'm going to be honest and transparent. It's not always just ups and successes and I'm a millionaire. It's a lot of downs, but that's what allows me to make these videos, because I have these experiences so that you can avoid them, okay? So let's go through some of my lessons that I learned. And for context, 4 business models, 3 million Amazon listings reviewed, and over $1.2 million, probably more now, spent into inventory. So I've been through the ringer when it comes to reviewing all these opportunities, reviewing Keepa charts, SellerAmps, storefronts, everything you can imagine under the sun, and spending a lot of money at a young age, putting money out into the floor and back into my bank account to continue to reinvest it. Okay, so that's important context to know. Now, here's one of the biggest things I always talk about. Prioritize moving inventory. And there's a reason why I have it first, because it is as important as it is in being first. Okay, so you want to focus on getting your inventory in and out of Amazon, even if you're sacrificing ROI. Take it to the bank on that one for me. Again, along with that, going in that wholesale model, I had this stupid, stubborn idea of thinking if I get wholesale, if I get brand direct, I'm only gonna have to work, 5 hours a month or something crazy like that, because I'm gonna contact my supplier every single Monday or on the first of every month, and I'm just gonna sell through this inventory and do it again on the next month, and I'm never gonna have to worry about these listings tanking, anything like that. Even if I sell a little bit slower, everything's consistent. And it's such a dumb ideology. So focus, especially in the early days, getting your inventory in and out of the floor and churn that ROI. Even if it's a little bit lower, you want to learn the process, get ungated into more opportunities, and just continue to get inventory in and out, okay? It's huge. So focus on low competition, all right? This is something that I learned in the very early days, and thank God I did, because I don't know if I would be here by now. But if you're competing with massive big sellers, like with 10,000 reviews or 100,000 reviews, you are not going to get sales. Even if the listing does 1,000 times a month or 2,000 times a month, it's nearly impossible to get sales. And I'm saying this out of pain, because even at my scale, I still run into situations where a big seller jumps on the listing and essentially everybody, including me, has no opportunity to sell inventory. So take that one to the bank, please. All right. Next, sales over ROI. How many times that I was looking at ROI and trying to get married with it and thinking that it was a great opportunity, great possibility, even if the sales were low, like 50 sales per month or 100 sales per month. But that is so wrong. Please focus on getting sales over 5 to 10% extra ROI. It is way more valuable, okay? Next is fast turnaround suppliers. And when I say this word suppliers, I don't mean wholesalers or brands or anything like that. I just mean literally any possible supplier, whether it's a retailer, wholesaler, brand, OA bulk retailer, right? The relationships lead, like I mentioned. Make sure that inventory is getting shipped out of their warehouse, wherever it's coming from, at a fast rate to go to your prep center, to go to Amazon, to sell, to rinse and repeat again and again. It is massive, okay? That is a massive, massive one, all right? Next, let's keep rolling into it. Do more of what works then again, okay? So I always say this now. I say this to everybody in my community. I say this all the time to you guys, to all the viewers here. Do more of what works and then do it again. Literally continue to double down. And this takes me all the way back to this graph here that I highlighted to you guys, right? What got me to 50K per month was what I was doing. There was no stopping in sight. I could grow it to 200, 300, 500K per month if I just had more money and more opportunities over time. But I just couldn't completely scratch my business and entered a different stage of business, right? And it almost cratered and collapsed my business. So there is no cap to OA. There's no cap to wholesale. There's no cap to brand direct. There's no cap to hybrid OA, the traditional the relationship lead that I like to call it. There's no cap to it. Take that ego and the ideology and put it to the side and literally never look at it again, because there is no cap. I've heard of people scaling OA, regular OA, not relationship OA, to $1 million a month, to even more than that. So think about where you're at with your business and how much more you have to extract out of it. Doesn't mean you're going to be doing a ton more work, but there is no cap to it. Trust me on it, all right? Also, chase quick wins and then stack them. Literally, right? If you can get, $1,000 in profit on a potential opportunity, even though it doesn't look like it's sustainable for months to come, I don't mean unhealthy, keep a chart on unhealthy listing, but if you can go chase a quick win to get $1,000, get $500, get $2,000, that builds that capital of inventory the inventory capital that you have to now deploy into better and other products. So chase those quick wins. It's okay. Don't always look ahead to 2 to 5 to 10 years out, thinking of stability and how you can keep up at that rate, okay? Next is don't think too forward. So what I just said goes hand in hand with that. Literally, don't think 5 years down the line, 10 years down the line, because I messed up on this, right? Like I said, I got into wholesale brand direct because I thought it was more sustainable, more scalable, and I started looking ahead, and I started thinking about when I was 35 and 40 and what I would do with this business, and it was just absolute nonsense, right? Chase those quick wins, chase profit, chase ROI, and then eventually when you have $500,000 ready to spend in inventory, then decide what you want to do with it, right? And then we'll have a video out when that time comes, all right? Next, the ROI on a team is infinite. This one is huge, and specifically it comes down to a sourcing member, right? But the sourcing member is your first hire after you learn. So this one should be underlined, highlighted, bolded for all the people who are getting started. You want to learn the business first, learn Keepa, learn SellerAmp, learn sourcing, learn all the softwares and how everything works, and then hire. I didn't hire my first VA until I had to. And the reason why I had to is because I was traveling the world. So I wanted to be able to have sourcing delegated so I didn't have to focus on that while I was traveling and working and having fun and whatnot, all right? So you want to hire a sourcing team member, and literally the ROI is infinite. If they're finding, 10 opportunities a month or 5 to 10 opportunities a month, and you're paying them $4 or $5 an hour or even a little bit more, you could be paying them, if they're working part-time or full-time, $500 a month, $400 a month, $1,000 a month, and you could be making $7,000, $8,000, $10,000 a month. And you could do that constantly with more and more opportunities with more team members as you hire, okay? Also, there is no business with structure. So I'm at the point of things where I hired an admin VA who really comes in to track invoices, track orders, track bills, track payments, track things on the account like IP complaints or messages or emails, and it keeps everything so structured. But if you don't have that, if you just have a regular traditional OA business, nobody working with you or for you, you're just sourcing constantly and you're chasing these wins, and then you're chasing the next discount, then the next lead, then the next discount, there is really no business, right? You're not tracking any of your purchases, any of your orders, any of your profit. You're just hoping that it just continues to pile up. And I know I've been there in the first few months, but it really isn't a business. It's just a reselling gig, right? And you just have to have that true reality with it, okay? Now, after we got all that stuff out, here comes the action plan to actually grow it and change that strategy and ideology, okay? So this is starting or growing in 2026. Number one, prioritize a balance of bulk opportunities, relationship OA, with traditional OA, right? You want to have a good, healthy balance of making sure you're focusing on ROI, capital going in and out, and also having some relationships, whether it's 3 or 4 or 5 suppliers or leads. And now you have that really good balance. You have hybrid OA, regular OA, you're prioritizing speed, and when speed doesn't work, you're prioritizing consistency, right? And you have to have that balance where it's a little bit of a give and take, so you have structure and stability in the business, where if a particular lead is taking 3 weeks to come in, it's okay, because the traditional OA leads are getting sold, bought, sold at a fast pace. That ROI is keeping up for this side of the business, and you want to have that healthy balance, all right? If it's a little bit confusing, let me know in the comments, and I'll be happy to answer it pretty much in detail, all right? Number 2, stay diverse, test, fail fast, test again. Literally, don't invest all of your money into one particular product, even if you have a lot of money. This is something that I've faced and have a humbling experience with. Even 6 to 7 months ago, I invested over 5 figures in a particular product, and Amazon came on the listing for 7 months and tanked the listing. And it hurt my business in that side of things. Obviously, they had no history in the listing and it came out of nowhere, but maybe I shouldn't have invested that much money into inventory in one particular product. So you want to stay diverse, test what's winning, fail fast on the ones that don't win, cut them out of your catalog, and replenish the good ones, and then test again, right? It's kind of a repeating cycle of building out a catalog, right? Number 3, prioritize reverse sourcing. This is the number one sourcing method. I don't care what anybody says. I know Keep a Product Finder. I know Smart Scout for wholesale and whatnot, but this is the number one way to spend your time when it comes to sourcing, and you will not waste your time by looking at what's working, what people who are just similar to you and your store, your account, your Amazon selling account, and copy what they're doing. Trust me on it. It's still the number one tactic I teach and emphasize to my team, okay? Number 4, source 100 qualified listings. What do I mean by this? Number 1, this is to show you how much volume it actually takes to get to building a sustainable business and having a high quality catalog of leads. Go put that volume in of sourcing 100 qualified listings. Make sure they meet the ROI, the volume, the competition, the category, everything you like. Put them in a Google Sheet and then say that you're starting the business. It's going to put you in a much better spot than sourcing a little bit, saying it doesn't work, complaining about ungating, running into all these roadblocks. Trust me, okay? Number 5, double down on what works, and that means category, supplier, or leads. Double down on it, take it to the bank, and continue to grind it till you get to 100K a month, 200K a month. Extract all of the energy and opportunity out of that one side of the business, whether it's having a good category you're working in, a good supplier, or a really good lead. Continue to invest it, double down into it, extract that money out of it. Like I said, chase that quick win, have the money, then decide what to do with it. Don't think too far ahead or get too kind of bloated on that side of things, all right? So there comes when I break down my entire way of helping out your strategy and fixing your strategy basically forever, because this is not changing when it comes to the business. This strategy, the success, the momentum is not changing, and it will take and just take my 4 years of failures and experiences and apply it to your business, and you're going to be extremely grateful on growing the business the right way and taking the stress out of it. So there we go. As always, if you like the video, please subscribe. I'm making a video every single day for the foreseeable future. More ones to help you guys build out your business at a much easier and rapid pace than I had to go through. So I will see you guys in the next one.